There's 3 weeks, there's a week, there's 9 days, there's Shavuot Shechalva. You have all kinds of different times when it starts, and what starts, what the halachas are. So we'll try to explain it a little bit. But if you're Sephardi, you're very lucky, especially this year, because Sephardim basically get it off here. We'll see. For many things, there's the 3 weeks, which starts from Shavuos B'Tammuz, and that's really only brought down in the Ramah, that he says that we're noyeg in many things, which the Mechaber says, from Rosh Chodesh until the Tanis, Mamatim, B'Masim, Mamatim, we start slowing down on things. But the Ramah says that on certain things we already start. Ramah says that we're noyeg from Shavuos B'Tammuz and many things here. Haircuts, we're noyeg lahachmer from Yud Zayin B'Tammuz. So the Ramah has things that begin early, which is 3 weeks, but Sephardim don't really start anyways until the 9 days. And then there's something called the Shavuot Shechalva. Shavuot Shechalva is the week that Tisha B'Av falls out on. That has more stringent halachas. That's already Medina de Gemara. That's what the Gemara says. It's not just a minhag. That's Medina de Gemara, that we stop doing things on the week of Tisha B'Av, which is really washing ourselves and taking and washing the clothing. This is all really the week of Tisha B'Av. Now, when you have Tisha B'Av falling out on Sunday, there's no week of Tisha B'Av. So then there's a shaila exactly what happens. So if Tisha B'Av really falls out on Shabbos like it does this year, so then the Mechaber brings a machlekes if there's a week of Tisha B'Av. It brings things like this. Chal Tisha B'Av b'Yom Rishon Oy b'Shabbos v'nidcha la'achar Shabbos, like this year. Mutter b'shtei Shabbosos bein kodim v'tanis mashach. There's nothing else. You're allowed to wash your clothing. You're allowed to do all the things which are usher from because of the Shavuot Shechalva, the week of Tisha B'Av, which the Mechaber holds, taking a haircut, washing your clothing, taking baths and stuff like that. So this is all usher on the week of Tisha B'Av. So this year there's no week of Tisha B'Av, because Tisha B'Av comes out. Tisha B'Av is on Sunday. There's no week of Tisha B'Av. So then he brings V'yesh Misha Oimer Shenogu LeAser Kol Shavuot Shelafonav. There are those that say it's usher the week before Tisha B'Av, the week before, because Tisha B'Av is really on Sunday. Chutz Miyom Hei Vav, which you allowed to get ready for Shabbos, and that's the Mechaber. So the Mechaber, the Sephardim go with the first shita anyways, not the Yesh Mishomer, and therefore they say when Tisha B'Av comes out on Sunday, or even if it comes out on Shabbos like this year and it's Nidcha to Sunday, they get a off year. They don't have to do all these halachas of haircuts and washing clothing, and they don't have this problem washing the clothing. So the Ashkenazim don't have this. We don't have this heter, and even some Sephardim are noyeg to be machamer the week before. So you got to know your minhag. But that's for Sephardim. Ashkenazim, we have a few chumras. First of all, our Shavuot Shechalva, whenever it's usher the week of Tisha B'Av, we start from Rosh Chodesh, even if it's not the week of Tisha B'Av. So that's what we call the 9 days. The 9 days, because 9 days from Rosh Chodesh to Tisha B'Av. Really, Medina de Gemara, it's really the week of Tisha B'Av. But we're machmer, and we go all the way from the 9 days, and other things we're noyeg even from the 3 weeks. We're machmer even from the 3 weeks. So, for example, getting haircuts, we're machmer from the 3 weeks, even though Medina de Gemara, it's only from the week of Tisha B'Av. Now, this has an afkamina. If there's certain things which, whatever reason, the person could be makel, those kulas apply only till Shavuot Shechalva, till the week of Tisha B'Av, which where you can't, let's say a person only has one set of clothing or something, so he has to continue washing it, so he's allowed to wash it. But until the week of Tisha B'Av, then he doesn't wash it anymore. The week of Tisha B'Av. So the Shvuah Shechalboi has a halacha for us also, even for Ashkenazim in certain cases, and which this year you might not have a Shvuah Shechalboi. So this year, it may be a person has no clothing and he's rewashing his clothing. He only has one set or something, so then he'd be able to go all the way up to Shabbat, all the way up to Tisha B'Av, because there's no Shavuot Shechalboi this year. So there is nafkamina for us also in certain cases. We'll see as we go along, but generally speaking, we're machmer all the way as Ashkenazim. We start from the 9 days, and certain things we start all the way from. We back up all the way from Shavuos B'Tammuz. Now, someone had a shiloh, someone asked me a shiloh, called me up before Shabbos. If someone's driving in from New York, and they want to know if they can listen to music on the night, last night, Motzei Shabbos, they would drive through the night, Motzei Shabbos, if they can listen to music, But if they can't listen to music, they'll have to drive in the day, which is a tinus, they'd rather drive at night. That was the shiloh. That was the shiloh that was asked. So before the driving through the night issue of whether they could listen to music, the Etzem Hadin is, does the 3 weeks start from the night, or does it start from the fast? We know the fast starts in the morning. No, none of us fast at night, even though there's a whole Shalom Rabbi Scheiner, there's a Gemara, whether the fasts are really supposed to start at the night, just like Tisha B'Av starts at night, and Yom Kippur starts at night, but we make them, and the fast start in the day. But there could be, there are those Yechidei school that are machmer to not do things every fast day in the night, because there is such the Shloah Kodesh brings down such a concept that the fast really starts at night. But really, we hold Mikra Adin, the fast starts in the morning. So the question is, does the time start? Does the 3 weeks start from the day, or does it start from the night before? So Rav Moshe has a tshuva. Rav Moshe takes the opinion, is telling this Machlokes Rishonim when the fast starts, and he holds that since when the fast starts in the day, one can be mekel. And if someone made a chasana, let's say the day before Shavuos, on the 16th day of Tammuz, and the Suda could go into the night, he says that's fine because the fast the 3 weeks first starts in the morning. Others argue on him. Others argue about Moshe that the 3 weeks starts in the night. But Maisa this year wasn't in the Geya, because Moshe himself says that that's only if the 17th day of Tammuz is the fast day. But this year, the 17th day of Tammuz was Shabbos. So, and even on Shabbos, some that are knowing different things. So the Kitzur, if the 17th day is Shabbos, so Motzei Shabbos is well into the 3 weeks. So even though the fast day starts in the first starts on the 18th day in the day, Moshe himself writes that Avada, the 3 weeks start from the night. So this year they didn't have a kula Motzei Shabbos to go party, with music and all that, because less, Sephardi. But Ashkenazim, they don't have Eitzah. It starts already the night before. The only thing is, I told him that if he's going to drive through the night, he has to stay awake. So it's more important, it's better he listens to music than he listens to anything else there on the radio, I imagine. So that's probably okay. Anyways, for other purposes, for him to listen to music. If someone needs someone listening to music for other purposes, they don't want to be depressed, or different reasons to listen, not for, you're not listening because you want to dance and be b'simcha. You're listening it for side reasons. It could be this you're allowed to. It's not something which is usher because music is usher. It's usher because it's not the right thing to do during this time. But if there's a side reason, the guy's driving through the night, he might fall asleep. You should definitely put on the music or something. If you can't listen to a tape that's interesting, get some of these story tapes, or get things that keep you awake. But if you can't, then But also Ikud the Din is Avada the 3 weeks start already this year. For sure, it started in Motzei Shabbos because Shabbos was already Shavuos B'Tammuz. So that's that one doesn't that Kula didn't help. So Akapanim, the 3 weeks start from Shavuos B'Tammuz, and like we said, this 9 day start Rosh Chodesh. For the Shvuah Shechalboi is a shiloh whether you have it this year at all. The week of Tisha B'Av, it's a shiloh if you have it. It's the week of Tisha B'Av. Tisha B'Av will come out on Tuesday, so Sunday, Monday would be the week of Tisha B'Av. It comes out on Shabbos, which is pushed off to Sunday. It comes out on Sunday. It could be there's no week of Tisha B'Av. And therefore, the Medina, the Gemara, all these things don't apply, and it's only a Chumrah that we do, that we start from the 9 days. And there are nafkaminas, like we'll see later. So now, let's see what's relevant, what we do here. So, it says like this. So the basic thing that's really awesome from Shavas B'Tammuz is really taking a haircut. That's the main thing, taking a haircut. And everything else is not so clear in the halacha. All the chumras that we do. I mean, music is pretty clear. It's put out in Shabbat here to dance and to do things that bring a simcha. I mean, music is a share that you have to discuss if it's mutter all year. All year music is not so simple. The guys are in music all year. Most people don't necessarily keep it fully. Most Mekel, if it's not during a Suda. During a Suda, it's also to have real live music. You can only have it by chasana and by things which are Suda's mitzvah. But otherwise, to have music during a meal is also. That's what the kings used to have. They would have music during the meals. So that's us all year. But Akapanim stopped to have music. We're Mekel. Most people are Mekel. Moshe has Jews. He doesn't like it. But my son, the Welt was Mekel to have music going on all year. We could use a little simcha in our lives. So we have music going. But during the 3 weeks, we're machman these things that bring to what?
Actually, we can use a little simcha in our lives.
Yeah, so it's very machman these things that bring to dancing and simcha. So, but things that are so let's say you make a party. So you're not allowed. Also, another thing that I'll do during the 2 weeks for starting Shasam B'Tammuz is making a chasana. Make a chasana. We know we don't make chasanas during this time. That's Renai Isser, and included in that Isser is to make an Erusin. Now, an Erusin in the days of the Gemara is to make a Suda Erusin. They were allowed to make an Erusin without a Suda. Now, an Erusin didn't mean engagement in those days. An Erusin actually meant the first part of the Kedushin. So, the first part of the marriage, right? There's 2 parts of the marriage. There's the Kinyan Kedushin, which we give the ring, and then there's the Nesuin, which is either done via the Chuppah or the Yichud room. That's the Nesuin. It's the marriage. But the first part of the marriage, you can look at it, there's the buying, and then there's the actual marriage of getting together. So the buying, you're buying your wife, that's the Kedushin. You give the thing. Now she's finished, she's yours, she's also on the rest of the world. And then the Nesuin, at the times of the Gemara, was done 6 months later, a year later. There's a whole Gemara beginning in Ksuvas, right? So this is when she gets married. It's a year later, but till they finally did the Nesuin, she lived in her parents' house, and he made sure he got a parnasa going, and then they call it consummated the marriage. But anyways, that was happened much later. So the Erusin, you're allowed to do that during the 3 weeks because Shami Yekdemena Acher. As a matter of fact, even on Tisha B'Av it could be a tzad. I feel about Tisha B'Av Atzmei Mutter L'Yoris, because someone else could chaperein. So you want to make sure you got it. So the only way to make sure is the ring. So that you're allowed to do it, but you can't make the party. The Suda you can't make. The Suda is the Simcha and the party that you can't make during the 3 weeks. But L'Yoris B'Loi Suda is Mutter. Okay, that's not what Negea today. Usually it's not going to happen. Today we do everything at once. But what is Negea is doing the engagement party, or Tanoim. Today in America we don't do Tanoim really by the engagement. And so they do Tanoim by the engagement. But we do it before the Chuppah. But the engagement itself, so that's mutter for the same reason. When engagement is a step closer, that someone else will get it. It's not guaranteed, but it's a little closer. So that's mutter, but a suda is also. A suda to make a party is also during the 3 weeks, but nonetheless one's allowed to give out a little chayim with the cake and make a little, make a little thing, make a little vart, but that's mutter. Just not to make a whole music and dancing, that's already not necessarily permitted. We'll see exactly what is, what isn't. But also after the kudin and mecholos, do the beloyers, and for sure with the Erusin is also, but to make just to make the party itself, not a party, but to make a party without having a Suda, that would be permitted. We're not knowing to marry women for two reasons. First of all, it's a big simcha, and also it's like Mesamli Milsa. It's a bad time. You want to have a mazel de kashon, we say. It should be the proper time. And it's not the proper time. So, I know that. There's a whole shaila with the other Sudas mitzvahs. What's permitted, what's not. You're allowed to make a Sudas mitzvah, you're allowed to make a bar mitzvah. There's no question. You're allowed to make a bar mitzvah, you're allowed to make a Sudas mitzvah. And during the 3 weeks, the shaila is with music and these things. It's already a whole shaila in the Achronim. What's if it's allowed, if it's not allowed. Things down here, Machloikis, the Sher Krasa Gdoila says it's mutter to have by a bris. Sher Krasa Gdoila earlier Achron says mutter to have a music by a bris, and but others don't like it. But Moshe Feinstein allowed it by a Shav Brachas. Moshe Feinstein allowed music by a Shav Brachas. The Chassid was before the 3 weeks. The Shav Brachas during the 3 weeks he allowed music, and some stretched him to a bar mitzvah also. It's also Sudas mitzvah. Others don't allow it. The Yavitz, Yerabah says he shouldn't have any music by a Sudas mitzvah. Bar mitzvah or Shav Brachas. I think general minhag is taken not to have music, but they do have dancing and things. They do have, you could have a dance and these things by Sudas mitzvah you could do, but the music itself, they have a new thing here called a cappella. I don't know exactly. I tell the truth, I never listened to it. I can't talk about it. I never really listened to it.
A cappella is an English word for zmiras. You sing without music.
Well, singing without music is allowed, but I think it's a little more advanced than that. On the tapes that they have, at least some of them, they sound like music. No, they do.
Yeah, but they use their voices.
Use their voices sounds like instruments and sounds music. But my you have to understand that the issue is not just the music. The issue is the dancing, the singing. So the Ikar Adin is really not. There's no chiluk. The music on the tape or the a cappella business on the tape. It's all the same. The same brings the same simcha, the same joy. Unless if they don't do a good job, then maybe it's okay. But if they're really professional and doing it well, that could be an issue. A lot of issues come up with people they want to know the camps. They do dance classes and all these things require music to do the dance classes. You got to dance to beat. I asked them if you could just do the beat without the music. I didn't know what I was talking about. Drum beats without the music, but I guess they have their tapes that they use and things. So this is a shaila, it's a shaila. For the younger ages, okay.
Well, like exercises, like women go to Zumba classes.
Yeah, but you have to understand that. You have to understand what the basis of the exercises is. If the basis is for health reasons, so if they have to do for health reasons, this is the only way they're going to do it. That's one thing. But if they're doing it as a activity, not necessarily for the health. They're perfectly healthy. They can get more healthy, I'm sure. But it can wait for the end of the 3 weeks. And it's just for an activity. It's not the proper activity to do during this time. So that's where it lies. People have to go, even in 9 days, some people have to go swimming for exercise and facilities. They have to. The issue is not to do exercise. The issue is to do the simcha and the joy. So if to do it as an activity, that should wait till afterwards. Like I said on Shabbos, it's a real shame that the 3 weeks ended up in the summer, because the 3 weeks loses. The 9 days, people may follow the strict rule, but in their heart, it's exciting. It's the summertime. They have trips and visiting. if the 9 days would happen in the winter, then people would take it a little more serious, you know. But it happens in the summer, so it's a little hard to find that balance where, you know, you need to get a break. You know, it's a long year. You need to be able to appreciate the outdoors on one hand. On the other hand, there's the 3 weeks and the 9 days. What do you do? To the campster, you know, they find all kinds of shtick. But I'm saying it's, you know, it's an issue. It's an issue, you know. The real way to do it, according to the halacha, is, you know, is to do it properly. But, you know, you have, especially with kids, they, you know, you have to be careful. You have to be smart when you're doing things. But just following the strict halacha, it's denied. You know, it's a mourning period of the base of Mikdash, and we have to try to tune into it a little bit, as difficult as it may be.
All you got to do is pick up the newspaper. You can tune in just fine.
Right. That's right. Yeah. Yeah. Not allowed to read a newspaper because you're not allowed to get depressed. So even in 3 weeks, you're not allowed to get depressed. It's you can't read this stuff. Do the halachas, you mourn properly. The tsar of the Shechina.
Catch up on the newspaper.
To get depressed is not a mitzvah. Anyways, so that's for dancing and these things. These issues come up. Unfortunately, you know, you have these shilas what to do if a person is in avelis, you know. Do they do, you know, Zumba classes? They don't do it. Okay, maybe during the 3 weeks, and won't make them in 9 days, but a certain sensitivity you have to have for the time. That's music. It's not really so much written in that, some halacha on the music, because again, Mikra did the music was us all year. It's just when Noig will cool on a lot of the music all year, but at least during the 3 weeks, it's kedai for a person to be a little more mach. Now, if a person you know, needs it for his well-being, you know, needs it to be a little more upbeat, so then obviously it's a different story. It's a different story. The person reads the music. The person should listen to it. Therapeutic music is mutter. It's just for the joy. That's something else. So that's the things we're machmer on during the 3 weeks before the 9 days. Before the 9 days, basically it's haircuts and it's chasanas and music and the like. The shalos always comes up with buying stuff and you know, building, contracting and all these kind of things. Now Mikra Adin, the issue starts from Rosh Chodesh. The Mechaber says Rosh Chodesh hanatanis matin b'masil matan. We slow down with business. We'll see what that means soon. The binyan shel simcha, building of simcha, going base chassis of noi. The binyan shel tzia v'kir, a nice binyan, you know, to build. Malatia shel simcha, to plant for simcha. Burning shemalachim. All these things. Mini hadas, mini oilim, to make a beautiful garden. These things are also during the 9 days. Now, during the 3 weeks, it says, the Bialacha says, "Ve'efshur diyesh lahachma v'yudzay metamas." So it says, "Resh Chodesh hanatamas." But that's on Shabbos betamas. But we don't really find any isser during the 3 weeks itself in these things. Nonetheless, there is a concept that we don't say shechiyonu. It's not a time of a good zman, a good simon, you know. So you don't want to say a brach of shechiyanu, v'kimonu, v'giyanu, azman hazeh during this period. So obviously, if a guy has a shechiyanu he has to make a shechiyanu. Something, the halacha says, a person has a girl, he makes a shechiyanu. He has a child, he makes a shechiyanu. He doesn't tell his wife, wait and hold off for another 2 weeks, because baby to come out, because we're going to make a shechiyanu. You don't do that. So a person is allowed to make a shechiyanu during the 3 weeks, just to buy something new, which requires a shechiyanu, that we don't do. So the question comes like this. I mean, it's a little bit iffy, because many things we don't make shechiyanu on today anyways. Let's say a new suit. So a person makes a shechiyanu on a new suit. So the halacha is like this. You can make a shechiyanu either the time you purchase it, or if it needs to be fixed or whatever, you make it when you wear it. Today the minhag is to make it when you wear it, generally speaking. But nonetheless, in Ikar Adin, you can make a shechiyanu when you buy it already. And therefore, the minhag became not to buy new clothing. Why don't you buy new clothing? Because you make a shachiyanu. Or something you don't make a shachiyanu on. So you can buy. You want to buy. So the question is today, most people don't make shachiyanos on a lot of things because people buy suits a lot more often. It's not such a big chiddush. So you don't make a shachiyano, so maybe everything's mutter in a few weeks. And there are those that say, yeah, you can buy anything you want during the 3 weeks because we don't normally make shachiyanu. But Maisa, especially in America, the minhag is not to. And the place can say, because anything which people sometimes make a shachiyanu on, even though you choose not to, because shachiyanu is not really a chiyuv, it's a birchus reshus. So we don't make it, if we don't really feel that simcha. But since mikra the dina, you could make a shachiyanu on, so we don't buy. So anything which mikra the dina you could make a shachiyanu on, we don't buy. We don't purchase shoes, which you don't make a shachiyanu on shoes. You can buy shoes, a suit, which you make a shachiyanu on, so that people generally don't buy during the 3 weeks. Unless there are other pressing circumstances, and then there's room to mekel before the 9 days. The ikar issue is by the 9 days, but as far as because of the shachiyanu issue, so Rabbi Moshe has a very interesting tshuva. Rabbi Moshe has an interesting tshuva. A guy wanted to buy a car. Okay, so could he buy a car during the 3 weeks? So he says, well, it depends now. If he's buying the car for his own personal use. His wife has his wife's car, the van, for the kids and his wife, and he has his own personal car for work, for whatever. So he wants to buy the car, so then he would make a shachiyanu on the car, so we shouldn't buy it. But if he's buying a car for the family, so you don't make a shachiyanu, you make a toiva meitiv, something which is a benefit for yourself and for others. The bracha is not shachiyanu, the bracha is not toiva meitiv, so there's no problem, you can buy it. You can buy it during the 3 weeks. Because something which the bracha shachiyanu is okay. You can't 9 days you don't buy it because that's something which brings simcha. Brings simcha, so you don't buy it during the 9 days. But during the 3 weeks before the 9 days, it's not a shachiyanu item. It's a toiva meitiv item. It's the same item. But if it's for his own personal use, you make a shachiyanu. It's for many people benefit, so then you make a toiva meitiv. A guy purchases a new house, A guy purchases a new house, so it's a toiva meitiv. You're not living there alone; you're living there with your family, so it's a toiva meitiv. So technically, I could buy a new house during the 3 weeks because it's not a shachiyanu. Okay, there are those that are machmer, say something which brings real simcha. One should avoid, should push it off, and one should try to push it off. A purchase like that, like buying a house, fixing the house, and all these things. Obviously, it's a say a time, so you want to push it off. You should push it off till after the 9 days. But technically, the letter of the law, it should be mutter until the 9 days. These things. So that's where the guidelines comes in. So it's a little confusing. You want to buy a new dishwasher or something. Okay. So you don't make I don't know, it's for everybody. Everybody uses it. So it's not a shachiyanu item. It's a toiva meitiv item. So technically it's okay. You can buy it during the 3 weeks. 9 days we shouldn't buy it.
People really make these brachas and all of these things. I've never made a bracha.
So we don't make these brachas. That's what I'm saying. We don't make these brachas today. We don't make these brachas.
I certainly didn't do it
on a car
very
or
often. A suit or
we don't make these brachas today. But technically it could be made. So technically it could be made. And therefore, we refrain from buying these things. So
where would you make a shechiyanu today? What kinds of things would apply?
The wife buys a new sheitel. Okay, she buys a new sheitel. So if you make a shechiyanu on something like a simcha, I don't know how often you buy things. Something which you don't buy so often. You buy it once in a...
So like a car, you make a shechiyanu on?
A car you don't buy so often, but the problem is if you buy it cash, you give all the cash.
Who buys
bought
it?
Good. If you buy it and you own part and the bank owns the other part, I don't know if you make a shechiyanu. What happens when you drive into the telephone pole the next day and you're out of a car but you still owe $10,000? Not so geschmack anymore in the car. So, I don't know. That's why people don't make shechiyanu so fast today.
For a house also.
Make house also, yeah.
Well, that's true, right? Most of us don't buy a house.
Did you pay cash?
Huh?
Did you pay cash?
take plastic and paper, like that.
So it's proper to be machmir. The bottom line is, it's proper to be machmir and all these things. What can be pushed off till afterwards. I think that brings simcha. A person's redoing his house, redoing the house. So it's better to be machmir to do it afterwards. But if for sure if you started before, you could continue during the 3 weeks, and you should try to. So I guess 9 days. We'll see. But for the 3 weeks, you started before, you could definitely continue. Or if there's something that needs to be done for living purposes, a person's allowed to do. Any practical work that needs to be done in the house is allowed to be done even during the 9 days. You have to learn how you're living in the house. So you don't have to live with a leak in the house. You're allowed to fix it. You're allowed to fix anything that's broken that has to be done that you could do.
In all seriousness, would one make a shechianu on anything that is purchased with borrowed money where it's not completely yours? Like we're talking about cars, houses.
It's a shiloh, maybe. It's a shiloh, possibly, yeah. Because you borrowed the money. Who cares?
Like even a renovation, for instance, of something that you're building in the house,
right.
it might give you a real simcha. You're putting it in your kitchen or something, but
right.
but borrowing the money from the bank.
The money, yeah. Everything comes with nothing is.
Comes with strings attached.
Yeah, strings attached. Yeah. Well, it says he ain't ksuva like tigger. Even a chasana, there's strings attached.
Many strings. I just want to remind you this is being recorded.
Yeah. So there's always, we're not living in a perfect world. So, but myself, your Rabbi says that we should be machmer before from the 3 weeks on anything, any purchase that brings simcha. And therefore, the minhag is to be machmer. But if there's any reason not to, any pressing reason, the person to ikud the dina, it's mutter until the 9 days. If there's a sale, and you can't bind it, everybody puts their stuff on sale because nobody's going to buy from them, so they put it on sale during the 3 weeks, But technically, if it's a real sale, it's cheaper. It's always on sale. Everything's always on sale. They just hike up the price 20% and put it on sale 20%. But if there's a real sale, something which you can't get later, or you're traveling somewhere and you can't purchase this later, or whatever the reason is, then one could purchase it during this time, regardless.
The restriction also applies to Sephard.
What?
What? No, books are you allowed to buy. You're allowed to buy. That's not something we assume. But that's just practical. Any of these things you could buy. It's only something which you make a shechayanu on, maybe.
It's interesting. That's how spoiled we are. That there's hardly anything that would make a shechayanu.
Right. Yeah.
That's pretty amazing.
That's right. Yeah. So Halacha says like this. It says, reads again, until Tainus, this is from Rosh Chodesh, Matin, we don't do business. What does that mean we don't do business? Everybody does business. So there's a machlokes. Doesn't mean business of simcha, to buy klei kesef or tzarchei chuppah, make it a chasana, and you want to buy the things and get involved in the purchasing before the wedding during the 9 days, so one shouldn't do that. That's called a masa matin shel simcha. If one doesn't have time afterwards, it's a different shayla. But if you have time to do it afterwards, so one shouldn't do it during the 9 days. But stam masa, stam business, you're allowed to do. That's some hold. And some hold even stam masa matin, a person should only work kadei panasasai. It's like an avelus, so he should only work according to what he needs for his panasa, and more than that he shouldn't do. It's a machlokes how to learn, and unless it's a davar avid, it's a yavid, it's a davar avid, so you're allowed to do. But Mishabur says, today, we're noying like the first shita. We're noying lahakal, that you could do business, besides that the fact that everything today is considered kadei panasa, who has enough of panasa. So whatever you make is included in what you need for your panasa, and therefore there's no restrictions on doing business today. That's how we hold. But to do business of simcha, which is to purchase for the chasana, so if it can be done afterwards, it shouldn't be done during the 9 days. If you can't do it afterwards, so then that's allowed, because it says later here, it says that with tzarich mitzvah kol shari, you're allowed to do anything with tzarich mitzvah. and a chasana is a mitzvah. So the issue is to do it for a chasana, but the mitzvah, mitzvah, it's mutter. In other words, if you can't do it afterwards, there's not enough time to take care of it afterwards, so then that's called tzarech mitzvah, and therefore it's mutter even during the 9 days. Even during the 9 days. So that's the halach with that. A binyan shall tzir v'kiyah, a person's not, a binyan shall simcha, a building could go in base chasas of noi. It's not a new thing that it's expensive to marry off a kid, except now it's more on the girl's side than the boy's side. In the old days, they had to build a house, a base chasas of noi. They had to build a house for the son, and they had the chasana in that house. That's how it was in time of Gemara. They built a house for the son. They made the chasana in that house. That was the base for and they lived there. So yeah, they built a house. I don't know how much it cost to build a house in those days. But to build a base chasana, that's a binyan shel simcha, and that's also during the 9 days. Again, if you can't do it afterwards, a binyan shel tziyah v'kiyah, or to build, stop to build a nice. You want to renovate your house and make it nice. So binyan shel tziyah v'kiyah, that's also during the 9 days. If it's the harvacha biyah, if you don't need it for your dwelling place, if you need it, you don't have enough room, and you have to make an addition because you don't have enough room to live in, that you're allowed to do. But if you're just doing it for extra space, so to say, that's not permitted. So it's hard to define that maybe today, because everybody needs more space. You can have a guy living in a nice house, but he feels it's cramped in. He needs a bigger house, and you have people living in apartments that are happy. So it's hard to know what's called you need it just for the extra, or you need it for living space. But if the person needs it for living space, to build another bedroom or whatever a person needs to do, that's mutter. But to build it just for the extra added peace of mind, that's also during the 9 days. Now, if you hired someone, you hired a guy before Rosh Chodesh, you hired a guy and he's working on the house, and things go, they schlepp sich out until they got, and the 9 days is coming closer and closer. So the halach is like this. If it's a kablonis, which it usually is, kablonis means the difference between kablonis and a hired hand. If you're the contractor, you're doing it yourself. What?
Fixed price.
Yeah. Well, a kablonis is like this. He's hired to do a job. It's hard to do the job, right? So you're getting paid for the job. That's the kablonis. If you're paying him by the hour, which most people don't do today, or you're paying him, per item, this and that. So that's a little more complicated. But if you're paying him for the job, so really he's doing it at daita nafshe. He's doing his business. So this is how he does his business. He takes his time. He goes quicker. He goes slower. But he's doing it to make his own parnasa, and he doesn't want to wait till after the 9 days because he has somebody else. Even though he stretched out your business till who knows when, but he still has someone else over there afterwards, so he doesn't want to push it off till after the 9 days. So then it's mutter for him to do it, but if you could be mefayis in bedavar muat, you could pay him a drop or just a little bit, a davar muat, that he should wait till after Tisha B'Av. It says tavei lo bracha. Person wants to be machmer, and it gets a bracha if he pays the guy a little extra to tell him to skip these 9 days and come back later. But if not, then it's mutter. Once he started before and it's a kablonis and he couldn't finish by the 9 days, then he's allowed to continue during the 9 days. That's the halacha with contracts. Now, building a shul of these things is mutter because that's a mitzvah derabim. So that's mutter. You can build a shul during the 9 days, all these kind of things. That's the halacha as far as building goes. Okay, so that's for the 3 weeks. Basically, that's for the 3 weeks. That these are the things that you have from Yud Zayin B'Tammuz until the 9 days. And the 9 days we add on these things of building and purchases of simcha. You don't buy any purchases of simcha during the 9 days. A person doesn't buy purchase of simcha, even though during the 3 weeks we said make a din. It's only things which you make shechiyanu, like the new car, but something which is any purchase of simcha a person doesn't do during the 9 days. Now, these isurim go all the way up till the 10th of Av in the afternoon, till Chatzos of the 10th of Av. So, which this year is not relevant because Tisha B'Av is on the 10th of Av this year because it was pushed off from Shabbos to Sunday. So this year, Motzei Tisha B'Av, everything is technically mutter, except for the we don't listen to, we don't eat meat, we don't eat basar v'yayin mipnei avelu shel yoyim. Since in the day of Tisha B'Av, we were still doing avelus, so at the night we don't eat basar v'yayin. So that stays on till the night. But technically everything is finished because it's already after the 10th day. By the night it's already the 11th day. So Motzei Tisha B'Av really is finished this year. So you have a few kulas this year. Okay, now the things which we have on the week of Tisha B'Av, we'll touch on it a little bit, not so much time, touch on a little bit, is the week of Tisha B'Av, which we're noyig, Ashkenazim, we're noyig to do from Rosh Chodesh, is obviously to wash clothing. Even to wash, now, in the time of the Gemara and the Shulchan Aruch, what's the question what's called washing, what's not called washing. But for all practical purposes, the laundry we have, the washing method we have today is very good, and therefore it's included in this issur of washing clothing, and who are then sending to the cleaners and all that kind of stuff. Even if you don't want to wear it now, there's two things. There's two problems. One problem, wearing washed clothing, and the second problem is washing it, even if you're washing it for after the 9 days. Both are forbidden. So a person can't wash it for after the 9 days, and you can't have it washed before to wear it during the 9 days. Either one is a problem. And this includes the clothing or the bedspreads. Okay? The things which are big day zeya, the things that you exchange for a sweat that you could change, undershirt, underwear, and stuff. A person changes all the time for sweat. Big day zeya that you could do, but the clothing that you wear on the outside, that should be washed beforehand, and it shouldn't be newly washed. So in other words, you're going to wear something you already wore before. So the question becomes, also, what do I do? I have all this clothing. People put it on before the 9 days. If you didn't put it on, you could put it on the floor and step on it a little bit, make it not so fresh. So it shouldn't be freshly laundered clothing. But there's an issue to wear and wash clothing, and there's an issue to actually wash it. Now again, we said if a person doesn't have clothing to wear, doesn't have any clothing to wear, they're all gone, so he's allowed to wash until the Shvur Shechal Boy. He has nothing to wear, he can wash until the week of Tisha B'Av, which this year we might not have a week of Tisha B'Av. This year, Shvur Shechal Boy, Tisha B'Av comes out Shabbos and push to Sunday, so we don't have a Shvur Shechal Boy. So technically a person doesn't have, so technically a person doesn't have clothing to wear. You can't wear his dirty clothing, they're really, really bad, whatever it is, then he could wash it for to wear it. But otherwise, that's the yisur. And the whole Shiloh will cover Shabbos. Shabbos, what we do. So the minhag in America is to wear the Shabbos clothing, to wear Shabbos clothing. By the way, the issue is besides wearing freshly washed clothing, is also wear Big Day Shabbos is also an issue. Big Day Shabbos during the week, let's say you want to wear during the week Big Day Shabbos, that's also a problem. A person is an avelus, doesn't wear Big Day Shabbos during the 9 days. A person wants to go to a bris or something. You want to go to a chas, you can go. Bar mitzvah. You want to go to a simcha, so you want to put on Big Day Shabbos. So the question is, could you do that? So a close family member that would feel odd walking in without his Shabbos clothing is allowed to put it on. He's allowed to put it on. He's allowed to put on a suit. But he should wear a suit that he already wore before, technically. It shouldn't be freshly laundered. He should wear that. It should be a freshly laundered suit, a freshly clean suit. On Shabbos, we're noig to wear it. So on Shabbos, we're noig to wear, Gam's al Shiloh here, but on Shabbos, the minhag here is to wear, a person could wear fresh clothing, freshly clean clothing. A person could wear that on Shabbos, Shabbos Chazoin. this year, even though it's Tisha B'Av itself, still has halacha of Shabbos Chazoid for Dvarim Shebefahesya. So upon him, that's how we're noig b'negei this halacha. What did I miss on that?
If you have to go to court or an important business meeting.
If a person has to go to an important business meeting where it would make a difference, then there's also a heta to wear a suit or something like that. Yeah. If a person's going on a date, he'll have to wear a suit. Or something, you know. A person's someone said they can wear it. A person can wear a suit. If a person has to go to an important meeting where it could make a difference, then a person's allowed to wear Shabbos clothing or something that's a little more fresh. So that's the restrictions of the 9 days, and obviously there's the other restrictions of taking a bath, which we're not going to discuss at length, but I always say over from Rabbi Feinstein. If you have to take a shower, at least no singing in the shower. I used to tell the bachur, if you really have to take a shower, but do it quickly, and use lukewarm water. It shouldn't be, you don't want to get sick, but it shouldn't be, chamim and whatever. Just remember again, it's not all year that we go through the Savelis, and therefore a person should do it appropriately. But Akapanim Me'ikra Adin, this is why we don't go swimming and other activities, is because there's also of washing, and there's also sakana. There's sakana involved. We all know stories that happens year after year during this time, tragedies, and the makam sakana, a person will stay away from these situations. Stay away from these situations. So even, you can find coolers and things, and a terim and things. Don't go bungee jumping during the 9 days. I wouldn't suggest it. I'm saying, there's a person should use the seichel. Upon there's two parts. There's the rechitza itself, the washing itself, which is aser for pleasure, washing for pleasure. A person has dirt, they're allowed to wash it off, but for pleasure, and there's also this inyan of sakana. Akaponim. This is the time of the year that we shouldn't be standing on Tisha B'Av and saying, I can't wait till this is over. We should be trying to chaparein a little bit of the Avelis, because kol misabel al Yerushalayim, a person is misabel on Yerushalayim, is zeicha b'raya b'simchasa. We're all looking forward to seeing the Simchas of Yerushalayim, but we don't want to take the right routes. We want to take the route of seeing the Simcha of Yerushalayim. You have to feel in the pain and the loss and the sorrow, and you have to misabel on Yerushalayim. So we should be zeicha to utilize these days, and we should be zeicha b'raya b'simchasa.
Amen.